Aung San Suu Kyi was one of the world's most famous political prisoners. Now she's a beloved politician in Myanmar. She helped the country restore democracy. After 62 years of British colonial rule, 3 years of Japanese occupation, and another 50 years under the rule of an oppressive military junta. And she did it while being locked in her home. This is how a political prisoner won the esteem of the international community, got elected leader of her country, and is now at risk of losing the respect of the world. Aung San Suu Kyi was born in 1945 in Rangoon, now Yangon, to Buddhist Burma parents, Myanmar's dominant ethnic group that makes up nearly 70% of the population. Her father, Aung San, was a general who led the push to end British colonial rule. In 1947, during an Executive Council meeting to discuss the transition to independence, a group of gunmen burst in and opened fire.
No one knows exactly who sent these gunmen, but they shot dead 7 or 8 people. One of them was Aung San Suu Kyi's father. She was only 2 years old at the time.
That's Bloomberg editor Jason Koutsoukas.
I'm the Southeast Asia government editor for Bloomberg News.
After the death of her father, the country completed the transition to become a democratic republic with the official name Union of Burma. When she was 15, Suu Kyi moved to New Delhi after her mother was appointed ambassador to India. After finishing high school, she went to Oxford University, where she studied philosophy, politics and economics. She graduated in 1968 and moved to New York City, where she worked at the United Nations. In 1972, she married British academic Michael Arris. They had 2 sons, later returning to England.
One of the conditions Aung San Suu Kyi had said at the start of the marriage was, if ever she felt that her country needed her, she would go back.
In 1988, Suu Kyi did return to Burma after her mother suffered a stroke. While there, she became involved with a student protest movement that was rising up against the military regime.
What we want the military to do is to keep out of politics. We don't want the military to split up. We want the armed forces to keep together, but keep out of politics.
You know, this movement was building, and you could see which way the wind was blowing. It wasn't just luck. She didn't just happen to be there. You know, this was definitely something that she always felt deeply about.
The Liberation leader's daughter tapped her father's contacts and formed a political party, the National League for Democracy. Soon afterwards, she was elected as Secretary General. Seen as a threat to the junta, Suu Kyi was put under house arrest, and there she stayed for almost 15 of the next 21 years. Her husband died in 1999 while she was locked up.
She received the international media when she was under house arrest, and she was very successful in creating a brand. She's one of those real standout figures from the 1980s and 1990s who won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Propelled by international pressure, the government finally released Suu Kyi on November 13, 2010. 5 years later, the NLD swept to power in elections and she finally took charge of the country. Constitutionally barred from becoming president for being the mother of foreigners, a provision apparently inserted by the military specifically targeting her, Suu Kyi instead took the title of State Councillor.
I think that it's probably no longer applicable to say she's the de facto leader of Myanmar, because in practice, she really is the leader of the country.
Her popularity and authority has not been questioned, until now.
I like your eyes, you look away when you pretend not to care. I like the dimples on the corners of the smile that you wear. I like you more though.